And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I'm going to be taking a look today at two expansions for Alien Frontiers, and the same one. The first one here is an upgrade pack, and the second one is faction pack number 1. These are both very small, and you can take everything out of both of them and easily fit it into the base game. The upgrade pack, anybody can get that. The faction pack number 1, you need Alien Frontiers and a copy of their expansion factions. Although having factions wouldn't hurt getting the upgrade pack either, but you don't need it for the upgrade pack. Let's take a look at what's in both of these. Alright, let's take a look at the upgrade pack first. In the upgrade pack, you get a whole pile of components. And these components do nothing for the game other than simply upgrade it. Okay, I mean, you say, well, that's obvious from the title of the game. Well, yeah, but what I mean is there's no new rules or anything. This is basically just a way to make your Alien Frontier game shine. Okay, the first thing that we have in this game are we have new bases. So let's take a look at the old ones compared to the new ones. The old ones look like candy, you can see here, while these new ones are little glass domes, basically, that you put here. And there even is purple ones, and purple doesn't come in the original game, but it does come in the Alien Factions pack. They added a 5th color there, so this will upgrade that also. So this is the biggest upgrade change in my opinion. It's a nice one because essentially it just gives a nice look to the game. These are some of the coolest pieces I've seen. I don't know, there's something about little clear domes maybe, but they add a lot to the game, and so this was an easy jump for me. The next thing an upgrade pack does, if you remember, you can see here in the Lunar Mine that in a 3-player game you do not use this very last piece, and in a 2-player game you don't use either of the last 2 pieces. And so what you would do before this is you would block those off with dice that you don't need. Well, now in a 2-player game you simply put this token there that blocks them off. Now you might not think that's that big of a deal. Big deal, you're using a token instead of dice. But for me it is a big deal because a token blocks off the space, while dice can be confusing. As you look around the board, even if there's a die color that's not being used and it's covering up those spots, it just can be a little confusing. These is a little bit less confusing, and it just makes the board look a little cleaner. Again, this isn't something that's critical, but it is neat. While we're on the subject, something that's not critical is the special alien die that comes with the original game is now replaced with an actual alien die. In the sense that, if you notice, this one is the 3 pips are in a normal sequence. Here they're in a very odd, funky sequence. The 6 as compared to the 6, the 5 as compared to the 5. It's just a cool little special alien die. As soon as you see it, you know it's alien because it's weird. And finally, the polarity field, the isolation field, and the repulsor field, all of those have a new piece that replaces them instead. A 3-dimensional piece, plastic piece. Now that's a really cool feature. That's a really cool addition to the game. However, this plastic piece isn't as functional as these were, because this would tell you, isolation field, no one else may use this territory's bonus. So what I end up doing is I end up putting both of them in the territory. One, so you can quickly look and see how cool the cool thing, but also, or I put it in front of the player. I have the isolation field, and there it is on the board, and nobody else can use that territory's bonus. No one can use it. Here I have this field here, and this is a +1 victory point. So these are nice. They're not quite as functional as the rest of the upgrade pack because it is important to remember what each one does. I suppose after you play the game multiple times, you would memorize them, but even I can get confused. Now, which one of these was the +1 victory point again? Oh, it's this one. So there is that, but still, cool. Faction pack number 1 doesn't have quite the same ring when I drop everything on the table here. Faction pack 1 comes with one more faction that can be used with the factions pack, a piece that's used for that faction, and 2 cards here that 2 more cards, objective cards that can be used, and a new seismic detonator card, which is actually pretty cool. The seismic detonator, you can discard or remove this from the game and move all the colonies in one territory to adjacent territories of your choice. It's blocked by the repulsor field, but still, if there's a fight over one, you can just, it's a powerful card, so it's pretty neat. But we can take a real quick look at this faction. Again, if you don't know what factions are, you'll need to look at my review on the factions one. But this is a pretty neat faction, and it comes with its own little REV that you get to drive around. But basically, this faction is Xeno Explorations Incorporated. Wherever this piece is on the board, the owner can pay 1 energy to move it and to use the special ability of the territory that it's in, even if you're not the one controlling that territory. And then the other function that people can use, it allows them to do the same thing, except they're paying you the energy. It's a very simple thing, but it's nice. It adds another piece of the board, something I'm always happy with. And so this is an interesting faction, and basically that's the only thing that's in this Alien Faction Pack other than these 3 cards. For me, the upgrade pack is a must-buy, but that's only because I like my games to be as pretty and cool looking as possible. This is not really needed. This will not add to the functionality of your game at all. It just makes Alien Frontiers look cool. And I distinctly remember when Alien Frontiers came out that I said, this is a pretty cool looking game. So it's not like I think the game suffers without this. Although once you play with these pieces, you're like, how did we ever live before this came out? But still, you know, it's not necessary, but cool. Alien Faction Pack number 1, which makes me assume that there will be an Alien Faction Pack number 2, 3, 4, etc. This one I'm not quite so sold on. It's a really cool faction. It's neat to have. At the same time, I think people are going to have a hard time swallowing up and saying, oh, I spent the money. It doesn't matter how cheap it is. Let's say you find this at a super discount for $5. That's still $5 to add 1 faction and a couple cards to your game. And it doesn't feel worth it. It almost feels like you're buying a promo, which some people will gladly do, but most people won't. I would rather them not even have these faction packs, but instead save up and, you know, make an Alien Frontiers Factions Set 2 and have 8 more factions in that one. I think even if the money came out to be the same, it would just feel more satisfying. This is just some extra stuff. It's cool, but yeah, I know people are going to say, well, I really like this. Yeah, I like this faction too, but why not have 2 or 3 factions per faction pack? Why not have 4 or 5? And you can say, well, there's money reasons behind all that, and maybe there is, but it's not going to feel as satisfying for the consumer. So again, you really don't need either one of these. But if you're an Alien Frontiers person who loves the game, then sure, get both of them. But if you only get one, I'd get the upgrade pack just because it looks so cool. But this is a fun faction too. So if you're going to get one thing, I think the factions expansion is the thing you need more than anything else for Alien Frontiers. These are just some nice extra add-ons.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!
That's right. Shut it.
There.